AMP value equivalent to $0.78 a coin. The present exchanged cost range is 74003. The earlier day closed by 77. The change was plus N1 plus 130%. Converse rate, ICE to AMP. AMP gauge for August 2024. In the first place, cost at $0.48. Exorbitant costs 36, while low costs 0.48. The found the middle value of cost 153. AMP cost gauge toward the month's end 56. Change for August 16.7%. AMP cost expectation for September 2024. First and foremost cost at $0.56. Exorbitant costs on miscellaneous, while low costs be 56. The found the middle value of cost RAM 62. AMP cost estimate toward the month's ends by 65. Change for September 16.1%. AMP estimate for October 2024. First and foremost cost at $0.65. Exorbitant costs 71, while low costs 261. The found the middle value of cost line 66. AMP cost gauge toward the month's end on 66. Change for October 15%. AMP cost expectation for November 2024. To start with cost at $0.66. Exorbitant costs 102, while low costs be 66. The found the middle value of cost 1073. AMP cost gauge toward the month's ends 77. Change for November 16.7%. AMP gauge for December 2024. To start with cost at $0.77. Excessive costs 495, while low costs 377. They arrived at the midpoint of costs 0.85. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's ends 89. Change for December 15.6%. AMP cost expectation for January 2025. At the outset cost at $0.9. Excessive costs 0.95, while low costs are 3. They arrived at the midpoint of costs rate 9. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's end 9. Change for January's 10%. AMP estimate for February 2025. First and foremost cost at $0.9. Exorbitant costs 0, while low costs 0.86. The found the middle value of cost on time 2. AMP cost estimate toward the month's end 0.93. Change for February 4.5%. AMP cost expectation for Walk 2025. Initially cost at $0.93. Excessive costs 1.3, while low costs 0.9. They arrived at the midpoint of costs 1.95. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's end 0.96. Change for spring 3.2%. AMP conjecture for April 2025. Before all else cost at $0.96. Excessive costs 0.113, while low costs 1.96. They arrived at the midpoint of costs 0.3. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's end 0.6. Change for April 10.4%. AMP cost expectation for May 2025. At the outset cost at $0.6. Excessive cost 0.118, while low cost 0.2. They arrived at the midpoint of costs 0.9. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's end 0.11. Change for May 3.8%. AMP estimate for June 2025. First and foremost cost at $0.11. Exorbitant costs 0.122, while low costs 0.06. They found the middle value of cost 0.113. AMP cost estimate toward the month's end 0.114. Change for June 3.6%. AMP cost expectation for July 2025. First and foremost cost at $0.114. Exorbitant cost 0.124, while low cost 0.18. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 0.116. AMP cost figure toward the month's end 0.116. Change for July 1.8%. AMP figure for August 2025. Before all else cost at $0.116. Excessive cost 0.129, while low cost 0.113. They arrived at the midpoint of cost 0.12. AMP cost figure toward the month's end 0.121. Change for August 4.3%. AMP cost expectation for September 2025. Before all else cost at $0.121. Excessive cost 0.15, while low cost 0.121. They found the middle value of cost 0.133. AMP cost gauge toward the month's end 0.14. Change for September 15.7%. AMP gauge for October 2025. In the first place cost at $0.14. Exorbitant costs 0.173, while low costs 0.14. They found the middle value of cost 0.154. AMP cost gauge toward the month's end 0.162. Change for October 15.7%. AMP cost expectation for November 2025. Initially cost at $0162. Excessive cost $0162, while low cost $0131. We arrived at the midpoint of cost $0149. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's end Zen141. Change for November 13%. AMP conjecture for December 2025. Before all else cost at $0141. Excessive cost $0141, while low cost $0110. We arrived at the midpoint of cost Zen128. AMP cost conjecture toward the month's end $0118. Change for December 16%. AMP cost expectation for January 2026. In the first place, cost at $0118. Exorbitant cost $0125, while low costs $109. They found the middle value of cost $0117. AMP cost gauge toward the month's end $0117. Change for January's 8%. AMP gauge for February 2026. In the first place, cost at $0117. Exorbitant costs $117, while low costs $491. They found the middle value of cost $016. AMP cost gauge toward the month's end $018. Change for February 16.2%. AMP cost expectation for WARC 2026. First and foremost, cost at $0.8. Exorbitant costs $098, while low costs $76. They found the middle value of cost $089. AMP cost estimate toward the month's end $2. Change for spring 16%. AMP estimate for April 2026. First and foremost, cost at $0.82. Exorbitant costs $2, while low costs $368. They found the middle value of cost $76. AMP cost gauge toward the month's ends $0.73. Change for April 11%. As to AMP expectation for May 2024. Before all else, cost at $121.95 coins. Excessive cost $163.93, while low $104.17. They arrived at the midpoint of cost $135.39. The US to AMP figure toward the month's end $151.52. Change for May 24 2%. Dollar to AMP estimate for June 2024. First and foremost, cost at $151.52 coins. Exorbitant cost $188.68, while low $140.85. They arrived at the midpoint of cost $164.12. The US to AMP figure toward the month's end $175.44. Change for June 15.8%. US to AMP expectation for July 2024. Before all else, cost at $175.44 coins. Excessive cost $222.22, while low $175.44. They arrived at the midpoint of cost $195.36. The US to AMP conjecture toward the month's end $208.33. Change for July 18.7%. Dollar to AMP conjecture for August 2024. Before all else, cost at $208.33 coins. Excessive cost $208.30.